Squid and Octo Kids! Welcome to It's a Splat Theory. I'm your host, Kat, and have you ever wondered how and why Octarian society is so advanced? And how are they so far ahead of Inklings? Well, today I will try and answer those questions, and maybe even some more. First, let's look at some of the things Octarians have created and stuff they've found out. Let's start with the fact that they created an entire underground network of caves, all connected through transport devices known as kettles. And then there are the Octarian assault vehicles, which in Sunken Scroll 3 from the first Splatoon is said to not have a motor, so we don't know how it moves, which is quite impressive. There's also the fact that they lived about 100 years underground without the Great Zapfish, and are just now having power problems. Let me repeat that, 100 years using an alternative power source. I think that's pretty impressive. They were also able to figure out how Inkling ink disappears, before Inklings did, and they are able to create sentient tentacles that are compatible with their machinery, so they can control it. And it outright tells us this is 15 years ahead of the rest of the world. And last but not least, they are able to make rocks and islands float. They've figured out brainwashing. They're quite good at hacking, and they've kept their entire existence pretty much a secret for 100 years. But all this begs the question, how? How are they so smart? And so much smarter than all the other sea creatures? Well, I think we should first look towards the real thing. Nowadays known octopuses. For starters, octopi have multiple brains. Each arm has its own mini brain, and they also have a main brain that can control all of them, but they still can act independently. Octopi are also extremely clever. They can get in and out of containers and even solve some mazes. Octopi can also use tools. Some in labs use tools to complete mazes for food as a reward. Or in the wild, they build shelters with stone, broken shells, even broken glass and bottle caps. Octopi can also recognize people. And last but not least, they can also camouflage themselves and mimic other creatures. But with all of that, I still did some more research, and it turns out that squids are also quite smart, possibly even smarter than dogs. So with finding that out, I had to do one more Google search. Which are smarter, squids or octopi? And drumroll please! It is believed that squids are slightly less intelligent than octopi, although squids are more social and more aggressive than most octopuses. And all this real-world stuff is all well and good, but what's more important is why, in-game, Octarians are so much farther ahead. Because I don't think it's all in their DNA. I believe there's more to this story. So let's start at the Great Turf War. We know that the Great Turf War, the Octarians were going to win. Except a cord got unplugged. I think their likelihood of winning and the creation of the octo weapons was mostly out of sheer desperation and willpower. And we know that one of the reasons the Inklings weren't doing well was because of laziness. But what I think is more interesting is after that, how Octarians came to be 15 years ahead of the rest of the world instead of just a little bit ahead. It is my thought that as the years passed and the Octarians remained trapped underground, they started to run out of things to do. And so, they turned their eyes to science. And so the Octarians set up labs and started to discover things no one else had before. Stuff about Inkling ink, about alternative energy, and even how to make stuff float. But not only did they discover new things, it is my guess that they also observed Inklings and implemented anything important or useful that they found into Octarian society and science as well. So to sum it all up, I think that it was a mixture of octopi already being smarter than squids, and the Octarians not having much to do while they were confined underground. They were more focused on achieving the goal of getting out of there and surviving underground than Inklings were living up in the open. And they were also able to observe everything that Inklings were able to do, but the Inklings couldn't see the Octarians, so they could not build off of them. That's all for today. If you enjoyed the video, super jump over to the like button, splat the subscribe, and ring the notification bell. And as always, stay fresh, stay off the hook, stay cool, and catch you later, Squid and Octo kids!